So, because it's all about the laws of thermodynamics. Gotta burn more than you take in, right? There's my guy Homer Simpson likes to say.
Because we obey the laws of thermodynamics.
Exactly. Now let's get into it.
Video, I'm going to lay out the 5 most common cardio mistakes that people make when trying to lose fat. Now, let me start by saying that while this video will focus on the biggest pitfalls of cardio, I am still a big fan of cardio in the right context and when done the right way. So contrary to what some gym bros might tell you, cardio does have some serious benefits. Cardiorespiratory fitness, which is basically your body's ability to give your muscles oxygen when they need it, is a major predictor of all-cause mortality, so basically just death from all causes, and cardiovascular disease. Just look at the results of this 2009 meta-analysis. Just about every study favored high cardio fitness over low cardio fitness when it came to both all-cause mortality and coronary heart disease and cardiovascular.
This is pretty important. You don't want to keel over dead. I mean, it doesn't matter if you look fantastic and you're huffing and puffing going up the stairs. I mean, I saw a video with a dude, fantastic body. Literally, he says, getting out of the chair, putting on his clothes can get him out the breath. That is ridiculous. You obviously don't want to be that guy. So in addition to it helping you look better, it'll help you live longer, live a quality life. Imagine if you're huffing and puffing at the gym doing your curls. You don't want to, you need some kind of aerobic fitness. It's just good. I mean, suppose some wild animal was chasing after you or somebody with a knife. Gotta be able to run, man.
Disease. But it isn't just about health. Having better cardio can also help with your training goals by improving overall work capacity and recovery in between sets.
So let's say that again. Overall work capacity, meaning how much sets, how many reps you can get in let's say a 1 hour, 1 hour and a half workout, and how quickly you can recover between sets. That's important because like I said, I see some guys doing, I know it's light for them and they're like breaking out in sweat. You think they're doing cardio and they're just lifting weights. They're not going heavy as in low reps. They're doing 8 to 10 reps and they are drenched. Your cardio sucks. It sucks.
About how much harder 3 sets of 8 on the squat feels when your cardio is lacking. You might need to rest all day long between those sets if you've been skipping cardio, and you might even struggle to get all the volume in. But when your cardio is on point, you can get all that work done much more efficiently. It's also worth mentioning that physical activity is an important factor for long-term weight maintenance. Research shows that individuals who are more active tend to be more successful in keeping the weight off after a period of dieting. However, there is still a lot of misinformation around cardio and fat loss, so with these upsides in mind, let's dig into some of the biggest mistakes that I see people make and then lay out some practical recommendations at the end. Okay, so the first mistake is simply thinking that cardio is as effective for fat loss as diet is.
Now, this is very common. Now, be honest with yourself. When you want to lose weight, what do? You typically jump on the cardio. It's not as effective as a diet. Remember, you cannot, I can't emphasize this enough, you cannot, not impossible, outwork with a bad diet. It's impossible. It's impossible. Like scientifically speaking, it's impossible. As you'll see later, it is impossible. You know, I've said this before, but it really is impossible. Mathematically speaking, you'd be some kind of mutant, or maybe have superhuman powers or something, if you could do that.
Which definitely isn't true. Even though being physically active is uncontroversially important for health, cardio isn't required for fat loss. This is because at the most fundamental level, fat loss ultimately comes down to the difference between the number of calories you consume and the number of calories you expend.
It always comes back to that. It always does. As Homer says,
we obey the laws of thermodynamics.
The number of calories you expend in a typical cardio session is pretty depressing. For example, if you weigh 170 pounds or 77 kilos, it would take you roughly 3 hours of brisk walking to burn 1,000 calories.
That sounds like a lot, right? 1,000 calories. That is a lot. You only need to burn 500 a day to lose a pound of fat at the end of the week. So 1,000 is a lot, right?
But you could eat 1,000 calories in less than a minute if you really tried. Actually, fitness model Steve Cook showed this disparity well when, as a response to the 10,000 calorie food challenge, he tried to burn 10,000 calories the next day. And despite being one of the most physically fit guys in our industry, and despite his greatest effort, he still couldn't do it.
So freaking frustrating. I'm exhausted. My body's aching. I'm like over a third of the way there. A third of the way there. I feel like all I've done all day today is work out. It's not smart to try to out train a bad diet. See if we can get, Luis gonna try to hit like 8,000.
And in the end, he ended up getting to just over 7,000 calories burned. So it definitely is much easier.
This guy literally worked out all day, as in all day. Morning, you saw him in the morning and you see him late at night. Crazy, right? Obviously, this dude is in ridiculous shape, as in way better shape than you.
To eat calories than it is to burn calories, but it's actually worse than that because new research shows that.
What? It's even worse than that? Oh my goodness. So you're gonna add insult to injury now, right? Yes, unfortunately we are.
When you do the math, weight loss from cardio still only amounts to 20 to 50% of the weight loss you'd expect to see from the number of calories burned alone.
Wait a second. So of the 1,000 calories that dude just burned, or in his case 7,000, but the walking for 3 hours, you mean you don't really burn the 1,000 calories? Say what? What? You mean it doesn't all count? You mean all this cardio doesn't automatically make me look slim and trim? What?
In other words, if you burn 2,500 calories over the course of a week through cardio, so something like 5-hour-long walks on the treadmill, and did nothing with your diet, you'd expect to lose about 0.7 pounds based on the math, but would only actually lose 0.14 to 0.36 pounds, so about a quarter to a half of what you'd expect. Now, there are two possible reasons for this. The most likely is compensatory overeating. Basically, when people are told to just do cardio but don't do anything with their diet, they'll often subconsciously start eating more. The second
I saw this a lot when I was doing triathlons, because you think you're going to bike for a couple hours on your long bike ride on Sundays, or you had your long run on Saturdays, you're doing like 6-10 miles or what have you. I could really run crazy back then. My long runs got up to like 12-13 miles. So it's literally half a marathon. And you just start consuming carbs like crazy. The drinks, the shakes, you go crazy on the carbs. It's a common thing. And part of it is your body making you hungry as well. So
the reason is that your body is smart. And when it notices that you're burning more calories through cardio, it tries to preserve more energy by burning less calories through the other metabolic components. Now, it isn't perfectly clear exactly which component of metabolism is most responsible for this, but some evidence points toward it being.
So your body's betraying you, basically. Your body's unfaithful, man. Your body says, you know what? This fool is burning extra calories. So when they sit on the couch or they watch sitting down eating food, we're going to slow stuff down even more. Maybe. Either way, you're not getting the full benefits of all those calories you're burning. This is why you always have to factor in a dietary component. Always. Not some of the time. Always. Gonna beat that into your head repeatedly. Pretty much every show.
Due to reductions in NEAT, or Non-Exercise Activity Thermogenesis. Basically, your regular daily activities that aren't formal cardio. Stuff like fidgeting, moving around at your desk, bringing in the groceries, and so on. And so it could be that as you increase the number of calories that you burn through exercise, your body subconsciously starts moving around less, resulting in fewer calories burned through NEAT and less weight loss than you'd expect. Now, to be clear, even though you could theoretically completely offset your cardio through compensatory overeating, that's not very likely to happen if you're actually making an honest effort to regulate your diet as well. And you'll certainly never see so much compensatory NEAT reduction that you start gaining weight as a result of cardio. But my simple point is that the more and more you rely on cardio for fat loss, the more and more diminishing its returns become as your body compensates and adapts.
I mean, if you think about it, it's going to adapt. It's one of the reasons runners are slim. Or I told you the story with a Navy SEAL. Every time he deployed, he goes out into the jungle or whatever, he would just lose a lot of muscle. Because the body's like, we don't need all this muscle. You get rid of this stuff. Your body adapts. It actually is changing on the inside. When you run a lot, blood vessels, etc., it is becoming more efficient at doing whatever the cardio is. That's basically what he's saying.
This mistake at the number one spot, not because I think cardio isn't any good, but rather so I can help prevent people from setting unrealistic expectations about what cardio can do on its own. And from a fat loss standpoint, I think cardio should be used like a supplemental tool that assists your diet rather than the engine of fat loss itself. Okay, so the second mistake is poorly timing cardio around weight training. One of the most important things to consider with cardio is whether or not it's likely to impair your weight training performance, something referred to as the dreaded interference effect.
Shout out to Sika Methis and Uwizimana Angelique for this. This one is just for you ladies.
In the literature. This interference effect is the reason why there are so many memes that cardio is killing your gains. And while I do think the idea has been overblown by bodybuilders who just don't like doing cardio, there still is some truth to it. There is a well-established conflict between the aerobic endurance pathway and the muscle building pathway, and there clearly are smart things you can do to help squash that interference. Perhaps the simplest way is just by doing your weight training first. Now, I will do a 5 to 10 minute warm-up on the Stairmaster or whatever machine you like, as this has been shown to improve subsequent weight training performance. But doing a formal cardio session that takes longer than 10 minutes or so should be done either after weights or at a separate time altogether. This 2017 systematic review and meta-analysis on concurrent training, which pooled the results of 13 studies, found.
So remember, meta-analysis, they look at a bunch of studies together. This way you can, there'll always be outliers. One study say, yeah, do this is great. The other one said, no, do that is great. So you get an average, essentially.
And that placing cardio immediately before weights resulted in significantly worse improvements in 1-rep max strength, and that strength training is compromised for at least 6 to 8 hours following endurance training. Now, obviously, the extent of that compromise depends on how long and how intense the endurance training is, but still, these authors suggest that separating endurance and resistance exercise by 24 hours when realistic could be a useful strategy to optimize concurrent training adaptations and avoid acute interference. I should also say that the interference effect is more of a concern for advanced trainees than it is for beginners. This brand new 2021 meta-analysis found that concurrent cardio and weight training had no impact on strength for untrained and moderately trained individuals, but did significantly impair strength in more well-trained individuals. So the bottom line is that if you really want to knock out your cardio and weights in the same session for convenience, you should do your cardio last. And the more advanced you get, it wouldn't be a bad idea to create more separation between your cardio and weight training, whether that means by doing them on separate days or by doing one in the morning and the other in the evening.
I mean, personally, I try to get my cardio in the morning. It's just way more effective from a timing point of view. I don't want to be in the gym for like 2 or 3 hours because, I mean, I lift weights minimum 1 hour to hour and a half, hell, sometimes 2 hours. I don't want to be in there all night. And the science supports this. Basically, on optimally do your cardio separately, get a couple meals in to replenish everything, to get ready to prime yourself for go lift those weights later on. That's essentially it is what it is. But if you can't do that or you don't want to do that, do your cardio afterwards. But for sure as hell, do not do it before weightlifting. That is a waste of your time. Because you are determined to transform your body, you made it to the end of this video. To get more tips about how to look great and feel even better, check out one of these videos you see on the screen. I'm sure you'll enjoy them. So later's my massive. Me a go long now. For those who don't speak Jamaican patois, that's goodbye, my people.